under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we have the roll call, please?
Ms. Phillip,
Here.
Ms. Garcia,
Here.
Ms. Keys,
Here.
Mr. Haber,
Here.
Mr. Marty,
Here.
Mr. Mondesir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Martin, would you explain to the audience our variance process?
Good evening and welcome to the Board of Adjustment meeting. When your case is called, please come to one of the microphones and state your name and address for the record. Staff will make its presentation to the board first, after which you will have an opportunity to address the board.
And since our meetings are quasi-judicial, and anyone wishing to speak on any of the items tonight must take the oath, and our attorney would administer.
Anyone desiring to speak this evening, please stand and raise your right hand. Stand and raise your right hand. Anyone desiring to speak?
Including applicants.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You may be seated.
All right. Any amendments to the agenda, Ms. Martin?
There are none.
May I have approval of the previous minutes, if you've had a chance to read?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Let's see. Any communications? Continued items?
None.
All right. We'll start with the new petition. V6-13, Ralph, trying to say Muchnick?
Muchnick, yeah, that's good.
Very good. 1905 Northeast 119th Road.
Name and address.
Yes, my name is Mark Tobin, 5410 North Bay Road, Miami Beach, Florida. And I have the privilege of representing the Muchnick family, the applicant in this matter.
Can you adjust the microphone a little bit so we can hear you?
How's that?
That's better. Thank
Sorry.
you.
Want me to repeat myself?
No.
Okay.
I got that much.
Okay. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Ms. Martin?
Okay, this is a petition for variances to Article 5, Section 5-111 of the Land Development Regulations to allow a rear yard setback of 3 feet 4 inches for an unattached accessory structure, a gazebo where 10 feet is required, and to allow this structure to exceed the maximum size permitted of 400 square feet in the R1 district. And staff recommends approval of the petition. The gazebo structure was erected in late 2012, and the applicant was issued a $500 ticket and cited by code enforcement for building without a permit. Article 5, Section 5-111 states that the required setbacks for unattached structures, including gazebos, summer kitchens, pool houses, awnings, and garages, may be erected to a height of 12 feet and a maximum size of 400 square feet. The required setbacks are 10 feet from the rear property line and 8 feet from the side property line. The gazebo is 3 feet 4 inches from the rear property line at the nearest point. The side yard setback is 10 feet 7 inches. The size of the structure is 547 square feet. The applicant is therefore requesting a variance to the rear yard setback requirement and for the size of the structure. The gazebo is an open wood frame structure which, when finished, will have a tile roof to match the house. The structure was built for the occasional entertainment of family and friends. It is staff's opinion that the requested variances are reasonable due to the type of structure and the odd-shaped lot. Although the rear yard setback is only 3 feet 4 inches at one end of the structure, it is over 20 feet from the property line at the other end of the structure. In addition, the property owner next door at 1915 Northeast 119th Road has submitted a notarized letter confirming that she has no objection to the gazebo structure. Article 3, Section 3-606 specifies the following standards for the granting of a variance and states that the board shall find the applicant demonstrates compliance with 4 of the 6. Number 1, staff finds that special conditions exist which are peculiar to the land as the lot is shaped such that the rear property line is sharply curved because it is the last property at the end of the canal. 2, the conditions necessitating the variance are present in the neighborhood, in particular to those properties that are located at the end of the canal on the canal cul-de-sac. 3, the requested variance maintains the basic intent and purpose of the land development regulations, and the appearance of the neighborhood is not negatively impacted. 5, the variance requested is the minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the existing gazebo structure. And number 6, the granting of the variance will be in harmony with the general intent and purpose of the LDRs, which is to provide for accessory structures of good design, and the variance will not be injurious to the area. Oh, and the applicant brought these, there's plans in the packet from the contractor, a little site plan and a little drawing of the structure itself. And the agent brought tonight some pictures of this structure, several pictures.
Thank you. Anything else that you would like to add?
Sure. Again, I'm Mark Tobin, and I consider it a privilege to represent the Muchnick family. As a way of historical background and not as a basis for the remedy sought in the application, I'd point out that what happened here is Mr. Muchnick's daughter was pregnant, wanted to have a baby shower, had a daddy-built gazebo in the back there, and in the home she was raised in, and that's what motivated him, not an excuse. He regrets it, he's sorry, and he paid the fine, and we're here to try to make it correct. Okay, but that's just by way of background what inspired him. It wasn't just rebellion. It was just wrong, but that's the history of it. I would point out that the current codes of the city and the Florida Building Code allows for the correction of the permit. That's what we're trying to proceed with. The permit was expeditiously applied for, and in that process, Ms. Martin correctly pointed out in the review of it where the mistakes were. Once he figured that out, that's when we came to you and applied for the variance. We provided a package to you, as she pointed out, with the gazebos and in the back. If you could just turn to the last page, it gives you an overview of the unique shape of the lot. That's the really most important thing here is it's unique, and it creates a situation where it's squaring it off is impossible when you have a sharply curved property along the water there. So on some parts of it, it's over what's required by the code, and this is just a slight variance that we're seeking to correct. Again, I'd reiterate that the neighbors on both sides are extremely supportive, and there's hedges, as you can see in page 2 of the package. You can see the hedge at the close part where we're seeking the variance, blocking the whole thing in the view. Plus, it's an open structure as well. So I'm here to answer any questions you have. Again, thank you very much for the time that you've taken individually and collectively to consider this request and answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Anyone for or against would like to speak? Come now.
Oh, hello. My name is Mary Swaggerty.
Bring the microphone.
Hello, my name is Mary Swaggerty. I live at 1915 Northeast 119th Road, right next to the Munchnicks. And I'm representing Daisy Valdez, the owner of the home. And we have no objection. And she has given the letter, as was stated earlier. And they are wonderful neighbors to me, and they take excellent care of their property.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No voluntary additional testimony. If there's any questions you have of us, we're happy to answer whatever you have.
We're fine, thank you. Any board discussion?
I have a couple questions. Can I steal this? Thank you. First, I don't see anywhere how tall is the structure. I looked and I
It's-
didn't see it.
It's not over 12 feet. We couldn't reach to the uppermost point, but Georgette and I mean, we had to take measure, and we went up as far as we could, and we said, oh yeah, this isn't going over 12 feet. So,
So there's no height variance?
no, no.
Okay. When I looked at some of the pictures, I didn't see in some of them, it could be the quality of the photograph. There's a picture in this which shows the type of screwing done for the beams. And when I looked at some of the pictures, I didn't see what looked like to be that kind of attachment from the view we had. So I'm concerned about the roof blowing off in a hurricane.
You want to know how the roof is secured to
Yeah,
the
I want to make
structure?
sure that it's secured in case there is a hurricane, because the neighbors may be okay with it now, but they might not be okay with it if it blew off.
My name is Ralph Muchnick. I've been a builder for 40 years,
Okay.
and this particular roof is built better than an average roof is. It's completely fastened with all kind. We have all the steel that's required in it for I think there's about 400 pounds of steel to the side of it to keep it down according to code. It got all the hurricane straps in it. It built from solid plywood. I mean, it's actually done better than my house will go before this will go.
Okay. That's good.
This, I guarantee you this.
Okay.
And
I'm just like I said, worried about the structure staying in case there was a.
If I may add, the structure is still going to require all the permitting. So it has to be pursuant to building code.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can make our approval contingent on the structure passing the minimums required for code.
Yeah, it's an after the fact permit that's going to be issued. So the variance is to legitimize the location,
Okay.
but it still has to go through the building process and
Okay.
approvals.
And also, Ms. Garcia, I spoke to the contractor who drew the plans. You know, he had nothing to do with the building of it, but obviously had to inspect it and look at it to draw the plans. And he said, oh, this is an extremely well-built, strong structure.
Okay.
So,
No more questions from me.
Okay. Any other board discussion?
Yeah.
Mr. Haber?
Yes. I'd like to just, have it on the record that Mr. Muchnick, that you have identified the error of building something without a permit, and that you've learned from this lesson. You have many years of life, and that you still, yet you're human and you make mistakes. So hopefully we can move past this and no more unpermitted gazebos for you in the future. And with that, I'd like to motion for approval.
Second? Any second?
I'll second. Okay, you can second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Phillip,
Yes?
Ms. Garcia,
Yes.
Ms. Keys,
Yes.
Mr. Haber,
Yes.
Mr. Marty,
Yes.
Ms. Tondro.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I was going to acknowledge, thank you, that Ms. Tondra, but I know she didn't hear all the discussion, but thank you.
But I had my package and I had a
Okay.
chance to see it.
All right.
Thank you again for your consideration. Thank you very much.
thank you very much.
Next case, V-7-13, Robert Huff, 2110 Hibiscus Circle.
Yes, I am Robert Huff, 2110 Hibiscus Circle. I lived there for 27 years. And as I am sure you have the information on my petition.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll let
yeah.
Ms. Martin
Okay.
brief it.
okay, it's a petition for variances to Article 5, Section 5-601D of the Land Development Regulations to allow a side yard setback of 0 feet for a dock and 0 to 5 feet for mooring piles, where 14 feet is the required setback in the R1 district. Staff recommends approval of the petition for variances for the side yard setback. Some background information. Article 5, Section 5-601D states that all mooring piles, docks, wharves, boat slips, and/or similar structures shall maintain the same minimum setback from the adjacent side property line as is required for the principal structure. The required side setback for all residential properties is 7.5 feet or 10% of the lot frontage, whichever is greater. Since the applicant's property has 140 foot of lot frontage, the required side yard setback is 14 feet. The subject property is an unusual shaped lot with only 20 feet of water frontage. As such, it was constructed with a boat slip, allowing for perpendicular docking of a boat within the property boundaries rather than on the adjacent canal. The property owner directly west has an identical boat slip adjacent to the applicant's. The existing mooring piles are in disrepair, and the existing concrete dock is below water at high tide. The proposed plans provide for new mooring piles, the retaining wall to be moved to the side property line, a new concrete dock over the existing one, raising it about 14 inches, and a new 29 square foot wood dock extension for the purpose of a sitting viewing area. The retaining wall, mooring piles, and concrete dock construction are all within the property boundaries and do not extend into the canal. The proposed 29 square foot dock deck is beyond the rear property line and in fact in the canal waterway for a distance of 5 feet. It is staff's opinion that the requested variances for the mooring piles and concrete dock are necessary, and the variance for the small wood dock in the canal is reasonable due to the original construction of the boat slip and the odd-shaped lot. Article 3, Section 3-606 specifies the following standards for granting of the variance and states the board shall find compliance with 4 of the 6. Staff finds 1, that special conditions exist which are peculiar to the land, as the lot is shaped such that the rear property line is only 20 feet in width and the property contains a boat slip. 2, the conditions necessitating the variance, although not common, are present in the neighborhood, including the property directly west of the subject property and the 2 properties across the street, which have similar shaped lots and boat slips. The requested variance maintains the basic intent and purpose of the land development regulations, and the appearance of the neighborhood is not negatively impacted. 4, the literal interpretation of the LDRs would deprive the applicants of rights enjoyed by other properties in the zoning district, as the applicant would not be able to have any dock or any mooring piles, and thus would be deprived of his waterfront rights to dock and access his boat. 5, the variance requested is the minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the existing boat slip and to allow for waterfront viewing. 6, the granting of the variance will be in harmony with the general intent and purpose of the LDRs, which in part is to allow for docks and other mooring devices, and the variance will not be injurious to the area. On the last page of your packet, I've included the property record to show you a little more clearly, like the shape of the lot and the boats, how the boat slip goes into the property, and then the applicant's contractor they submitted a copy of the survey and a full set of plans, which might be a little difficult for you to understand, but if you have any questions, the contractor is here to answer too. Okay, Mr. Huff, you It's your turn.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone, I guess he's.
Oh, I don't know.
Was
You can,
that it?
you can
say
speak
something
and
else.
say anything you'd
No,
like
actually,
now.
it's very well laid out there, as long as they understand. What I have never asked for any more than what my neighbors have. My neighbor that adjoins my property has a boat dock, which is approximately 30 foot long by 5 foot out into the canal. And the one I'm asking for is about 4 feet wide and 5 foot into the the canal. So I'm looking at a little tiny thing compared to what most of my neighbors have. Again, because of the configuration of the property. And I don't think it's going to be a detriment to anything, really. It will more or less conform with everything else, as far as I am concerned. I'm not prejudiced, of course.
Thank you. Anyone for or against who wishes to speak on this? All right.
Let me ask one thing.
Board
I'm not sure.
discussion? Excuse me.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure I heard you well. Why did you say you never asked for one? For a permit?
I am asking for a permit, a petition for a variance.
Oh, it's not constructed yet,
It's not.
Lucy.
Ah.
It's not.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And you said your boat is tiny compared to the others?
No, the
What
dock.
he's
The dock.
asking for.
I'm looking at it. I can see it here. Close my eyes. The tiny little thing here
Yeah, he's talking about the tiny little piece
that I'm looking at?
that sticks out beyond the property
Right,
line. This
right.
little thing right here.
Okay, I was trying to figure it out.
No questions? And that's why. Any other questions? Ms. Keys?
Yeah, right now you have a boat that's docked
In there.
perpendicular. So we're not asking for any variance because this is grandfathered in?
No, because, yeah, it's not perpendicular in the canal. Don't forget, the ordinance says in the canal. His is inside his property
Inside
line.
the slip.
So it doesn't pertain, that perpendicular ordinance.
So we have a mooring going up in the canal and it's going to be out 5 feet? Because what I don't understand is where 14 feet is the required setback.
Yeah, well,
That's not- that's
obviously, that's impossible when you have a
Such
20-foot
small
of
slice.
rear yard. And because their yard is so wide at the front, you know, it's 10% of the lot frontage. But obviously, it would be impossible to have a 14-foot setback on either side.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't even see how, I mean, you've got this, the way I'm looking at your lot, you've got this little tiny strip of land coming down the side next to your neighbor on the east.
That is correct.
How wide is that land?
2 foot.
Wow. Okay, I mean, it just doesn't make sense that you would need a 14-foot setback. And so, but we are going out in the canal 5 feet, and you're allowed to go out how far? 6 feet, or?
Yes, 6 feet.
So I'm barely even seeing where the variance is required, because I don't even see I can't tell where your side yard is because.
Yeah,
if you're
see,
looking-
that's the
if you're
thing.
Let
looking
me
at the
answer
back,
that
you-
for you.
It's
They
confusing.
dredged out.
Hold on.
No,
hold
oh, no.
on.
Slip.
Wait, sir.
Brian Moretti.
Okay, your name and address for the record, and then you
Yeah.
can proceed to, but first be recognized by the chair. But go ahead and mention your name and your address.
Yeah, my name's Brian Moretti with Miami Beach Seawalls, and
No,
Thank you so
I
much.
understand exactly how they dredged it out because there are a few things like that. I just don't even see where there's a setback because it's saying from the side, you know,
that's why we're here, because they put the pilings right on the property line with no setback. So we want to replace those because they're rotten, and we have to go through a variance because of the
I can't even believe you have to go through a variance for this.
very
That's-
expensive, very expensive.
It's
To replace them?
it's such an it's not a normal.
For the setback.
In 1959, whoever lived there, because there was no permitting back then, they were allowed to cut into their property
Right.
and dredge it.
Yeah,
Before we came here, we went to the county, Durham, and went through them and got their permission to get this much. We wanted to be able to go out more into the canal, and they said no. And then we ended up with this variance. You know, and then on the walkway, where we want to move the wall where we only have 2 feet, we want to go, there's dirt there. There's another 2 feet of dirt. That's why we want to make it a little wider and put the wall right on the property line. And then to do that, there's no setback. You know?
It's weird because you call, you know, that little strip of land, I can't tell if that's a side. It's just really strange the way it's written and the type of variance you're getting. I mean, I have no problem with it. I just think it's strange that how it's being read.
Well, can we ask for staff to help us? What?
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, what you're doing seems fine, but 0 feet. It's really, the dock is really coming off a side piece. It's not the back, sort of the back of your property, because you have this little strip of land, and it's going along the strip of land. That's why it doesn't sound like it's a side setback. That's what's confusing me, I guess.
Okay, even if the code only required a 7.5 foot in his case or whatever, he still would not be able to do it. And yeah, he's at the 0 foot setback there, 0 foot. That would mean that the dock would be in the middle, like here, and how does he get the boat out with the dock, you know? And this is basically not for docking purposes. This is a little bit of deck for viewing and sitting. Because when you look from their rear yard, like the people next door, their grade is higher. They have this huge wall all the way to the canal. And these people over here have a lot of landscaping. So they just wanted a little piece that they could go out and sit on the water and actually see the canal, you know? So that is the purpose of this. But, you know, obviously there's no way, you know how docks, they always have to maintain the side setback, but it's impossible because then it would be put in the middle of where he's got to pull his boat in. So
The variance per se would also safeguard the investment that's about to be placed for the new construction.
I know permitting would have to.
So,
go into
yeah,
it.
and it
You
will
couldn't just
ensure
put it
the
up.
future use and enjoyment, since it runs with the land. They're about to invest a whole bunch of money into this.
Thank you.
Any other board discussion?
No.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Phillip,
Yes?
Ms. Garcia,
Yes.
Ms. Keys,
Yes.
Mr. Haber,
Yes.
Mr. Mardy,
Yes.
Ms. Tondreau.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And let's see. Any old business, Ms. Martin?
no.
Good luck. None?
No.
Motion to adjourn.
New business?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, let's go. Thank you. Okay, we got you out in time.
What happened to our board next
Okay, instead
Always
of,
have goodies for
instead of.
You meet every other month.
Drink the water.
So our normal meeting will be in June. Yeah, remember?
You can drink it. You can get it. I have another one.
Mrs. the Chair,
You can have it.
Chairwoman, in case
You can have it.
we getting elected, our board will not disappear.